The knock grew louder, and even then she did not open. Finally, the third time when there was a louder knock on the door, she went and she put this, the burglar chain, and she opened. She was palpitating and she was crying and she was completely, overcome with horripilations. So this is one beautiful experience that happened very early in my life. In fact, I was so small at that time that I don't even recollect the entire experience the way it happened. So this was back in 1981, and we had just started the Samiti in Bahrain, in the Gulf country of Bahrain. There were just about 5 or 6 people who would sit and do bhajans. My parents would be 2 amongst them. And there was this gentleman, his name is Mr. Dwarakanath. He continues to be there, in fact, in Bangalore. And in his house, the bhajans used to happen. Now, the peculiar thing about Mr. Dwarakanath was that he was a Vaishnavite. And pretty staunch Vaishnavite in that sense. And Swami is considered to be Shiva Shakti Swarupa, right? So when his mother-in-law had come for a visit to Bahrain, she was shocked that her son-in-law is following a supposedly Shaivite kind of this thing with vibhuti and all of that, and she was kind of totally taken aback, and she refused to participate in any of the bhajan activities, so much so that she would be locked in her room inside the inner bedroom when bhajans would be going on outside. So this is a beautiful experience which happened during this time. One night, there was nobody at home, Mr. Dwarakanath and his family, and they all had gone out. Only the mother-in-law was at home along with Mr. Dwarakanath's son. And at about 8:30 in the evening, there was a knock on the door. And she would typically not open the door because she's new to Bahrain, she wouldn't know anybody. And there's nobody else at home, so there's no need to open. So she just sat, and the knock grew louder. And even then she did not open. Finally, the third time when there was a louder knock on the door, she went and she put this, the burglar chain, and she opened. And who does she see out there? Swami himself is standing outside the door. And she knew for one that, Sai Baba doesn't belong to Bahrain. And so this is like a vision that she is having. And so she immediately removed the burglar chain and she opened the door, and Swami walked into the house. And Swami creates an apple and gives it to her and says, "This is for Dwarakanath." Swami's ways are also so strange, because Swami could have easily come when Mr. Dwarakanath was at home, but he chooses not to come when he's there at home, comes when he's not there, only to bless his mother-in-law. And so obviously she is absolutely dumbfounded seeing Swami, and she took Swami's Pad Namaskar, and then Swami waved his hand and materialized vibhuti and put it on her forehead. And then Swami left. So the moment Mr. Dwarakanath came back, he found at home, she was palpitating and she was crying and she was completely, overcome with horripilations. And immediately he called up my father, that my mother-in-law is talking gibberish, some crazy things, and it seems Swami has come and all that. So we all rushed. I remember I've been taken along in the middle of the night, not night but late evening, 9:30, 10 o'clock. We're landing up at Mr. Dwarakanath's house, and the mother was sitting in the corner and she was crying, and everybody's telling, Amma, don't be so, don't, they were almost kind of accusing her of, falsifying something. So she was Papam, she was trying to explain her heart out that I swear Swami had come, she wanted to. And so she pointed at, she's pointing at her forehead saying that, look at my forehead. Do you think I would ever apply vibhuti? Okay, the strong Vaishnavite that she was. Okay, but even then it hardly is a signal of, Swami coming. Anybody could have applied vibhuti. And so she went on, I remember so cutely, she said, okay, even if I would have had to apply vibhuti, I would have applied it like this, not like this. because, again, being a Vaishnavite. So, okay, I mean, these were like, she was trying to prove one by one, but it was still not conclusive for the Lord. I mean, Swami, see, we all know Swami can do it, but when it happens in our neighborhood, it becomes that much more mysterious. And, still people were not ready to believe. And at that moment, she just said, if Swami had truly come here, right now, from this photograph, pointing at a little Swami's photograph on top of the refrigerator, let Vibhuti come. And right there in front of everybody, okay, Vibhuti starts materializing. And that's the one and only time my father, I don't remember to have seen this, but my father says he saw it, appearing like, these bubbles of water and then crystallizing and concrete, becoming solid on the frame. And that this was one big, moment in our lives when we saw with our own eyes the absolute physical manifestation of Swami. And that was what actually brought us to, we were convinced about the fact that yes, this is a omnipresent Lord. And God is omnipresent, but He is also omniscient. That is, He knows and He responds. He is not some God sitting up there in the heaven, who will, you throw your prayers to Him and He will, He will probably answer them, He may not answer them, etc. This was a God which was absolutely potent, and He was listening to every moment of our lives. And, the continuation of the story is that months later, my parents had come to Bahrain. So immediately this particular event had happened. They had written an account of this to Prashant Nilayam, because in those days, there would be one portion in the Sanatan Sarthi of miracles, of Swami's materializations in different parts of the world. So they had written, about this account of Swami coming in to Bahrain. And so my parents had gone to visit Kasturi Garu, who was the editor-in-chief at that time. And when he came to know that they are from Bahrain, he immediately said, yeah, I've got, this account. So tell me, I want to listen from you directly. This is fine, this is written stuff. But so my parents had an opportunity to tell Kasturi Garu their, perspective of this whole thing. And then they were like, they were expecting that, within the next few months it will come, it will get printed. So when they said, will it get printed? He says, no, see, like this, so many things happen, but everything doesn't get printed. We have to get it approved by Swami. Only when Swami approves it. So that again, cast a little bit of shadow over this whole thing, whether did it really happen, Swami is not approving it, etc., etc. And in March 1983, there is the last article of Sanatan Sarthi is Swami in Bahrain. And that kind of clinched the deal that yes, this was something that really happened.